LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Down here in the bottom right, the red Protoss. This is, of course, MVP Super.
Formerly known as Vampire, somebody you can never count out, especially in team leagues, as one of their best players that they can put out. There's a shot of him right there, the old Vampire. Just love to call him that name still. It's been a long time.
And of course, up in the top left is SK Telecom T1's Zerg player in the blue. This is SoO.
SoO, just recently a finalist. Really, really strong Zerg player in both StarCraft1 and in StarCraft2. He's got so much experience in Pro League, and this is his format. You know, one thing to always remember, and I'm going to be talking about this at least through the first round for those people who are not familiar with Kespa players, they are the best, bar none, at preparation. The GSTL players are known for being able to play on the fly, especially because they travel a lot. You know, a player like DRG is well-versed in the ability to play against players he doesn't even know he's going to play against because he plays in that MLG Open bracket. He goes all the way to the finals, you know. That's what he does. That's what he's used to. The Kespa players are not used to that, but what they are used to is knowing the matches weeks in advance, knowing what map it is, and knowing exactly how to prepare for it. That's why they're so good in the individual leagues in Korea as well.
Yeah, that's a huge thing to note. I mean, all of these ESF teams, they're so used to the GSTL, you know, they have not played in Pro League just yet, and this is a new format for them. They're like, okay, I have this one player to play against in like 2 weeks, you know. What am I going to do? How am I going to practice? Who am I going to practice with in my team, in different teams? But the Kespa teams have done this so many times, especially all of these super experienced players. They say, okay, well, it's just another day in my job, and I'm just going to do what I've always done, and I'm going to be super prepared for my first match against Super, even if they have not played yet against each other. This guy, SoO, is going to be 100% prepared for Super.
Yeah.
The question is Super going to be prepared for SoO?
And that's a really good question, because one thing else to note about this is that for Super, he has a lot more matches to watch for SoO because SoO has been doing better in individual leagues right now. He's played a lot more matches in general as well. And so for him, he has so much to look at. So if Super is really cracking down, if you know the MVP coach, if Killer is getting on him and saying, "Hey, have you been studying what he's been up to? Do you know what builds he's doing? Can you psych him out here?" Then he might be able to get away with it. He goes for a gateway into Nexus before Cybernetics Core, a really, really risky build here, but I like it. It's a new map, and it's good to use aggressive strategies like this, something that SoO might not expect.
Yeah, I also really like this, especially against SoO. You know, this player who's probably going to play very safe, especially against Super. Like you were saying, he's not going to have as many games to study. You know, maybe he gets, I'm not sure, maybe 20 games, and he's like, well, I'm not so sure about this guy. I can ask my friends, but I'm not that sure. Whereas Super can look at all of SoO's past games in StarCraft2 and say, okay, like I got this guy's number. And he's going with a little bit of a risky start off here. We're going to see if it pays off for him. I really like this, especially against a player of SoO's caliber. And I just want to see how SoO is going to react to this. Right now, all we can see is that he's just putting down this third.
Yeah, drops the third hash tree very quickly with that quick Overlord scout. The rush distance on this map is not very far. You know, if you look at the mini-map, it can be a little bit deceiving. But when you start to see a unit like the Overlord in the middle of the map moving across, you start to realize how close it really is. So there's no tight wall yet. But with the Mothership crawling away, the Lynx aren't going to be able to get anything done. He does scout the Stargate, and that's been put in plain view, so Super is not trying to hide this build from him, not even a little bit.
Yeah, not even at all. Literally in front of the Zerglings' faces. And I like this on this map. You know, it's safe. It's actually, you know, even though the initial start of the expand was not super safe, this is a bit safe with the Stargate, you know, on this map where the air distance is a little bit shorter than the ground distance. He will be able to get those Phoenixes over very fast if he decides to go for that, which is very, very safe for him. Can probably easily take that third if he decides to. But I just want to see how SoO goes up against this. This is something we see a lot. He is going for that Oracle, going to probably put on a bit more pressure.
Yeah, you know, I don't know where the Zealot went. If the Zealot is actually out there and wants to pressure and poke a little bit, the Oracle can work well with it. If the Oracle goes alone anyways, though, with this build that we see, might be able to get some damage done, avoid the Spore Callers, just tank a few hits, kill a drone or two, go to the next base, and always be lurking around. And later on, when he wants to take a third base, Oracle's just mow down Zerglings, so he can use that defensively as well. So we'll see how much he gets done. He's scouted right away here.
Yeah, I also really like the Oracle coming in right now, building a sentry also at home. SoO very, very prepared for this. He has a Spore Crawler at every base. Just going to see what Super can find here. Can he pick off a couple of drones here? He does get 1, 2 there.
He takes a lot of damage, though, for it. That was really scary. You obviously didn't lose it, but the follow-up here is solid. Takes a Void Ray right on that production tab. You can see it. You see it even closer up at the Stargate. And with the Void Ray follow-up, it looks like we're going to see a third base pretty quickly. And Void Rays are good at killing just about everything right now in Heart of the Storm.
Yeah, Void Ray is a very, very strong unit. A good follow-up to Oracles as well. If you're not going to go for this, Phoenix is a very solid in-the-air lineup that you can build right there with just those 2 units. And the question I want to see, the question I want answered is, when is Super going to take that third?
Yeah, I think that's the question on everybody's mind right now. He's going to wait for that Forge to finish so he can go ahead and slide over there, set up a SimCity, get the cannons up that he wants. And I noticed just for a second, I want to mention this, there was a blip on the production tab of Burrow, and I think as soon as the Void Ray attacked the Overlord, he was like, oh, okay, I don't need this. No timing is coming my way. Burrow's not going to be useful to me against a fast third.
Yep, very, very well played out of SoO. Very observant of him. And, of course, Super, as you guys see there, taking that third. Going to be very, very safe here. He's probably going to put down a bunch of cannons. And SoO, seeing that third go down, he is going to say, okay, starting that Spire. Roach Warren is also about to finish at the same time.
Yep, Roach Warren finishing up here. He made a ton of Overlords. It looked like he might have wanted to commit to some Roach aggression just to put some pressure on at third base, but instead we have the Spire. And with the Spire, Mutalisks are a Protoss's worst nightmare if this goes unscouted. So Super is going to have to be very diligent here. He really, really needs to get over there and find out what's coming his way, because if he doesn't, add any Phoenixes or he doesn't add the cannons in time, then he's just going to be always at SoO's whim. And there's the second and even third Stargates being queued up.
And this is actually perfect for Super. I wonder if he knows, if he's seen this in some games. I mean, this Spire is about to finish, and with 2 Stargates, it's 2 extra Stargates going down, as well as +1 for air and more Void Rays coming out. He's going to be very prepared for this.
Yeah, he actually doesn't see the Spire. Interestingly enough, I mean, he's so close. The Revelation goes down on the Overlords. Even the Overlords on the patrol position, they're not going to get close enough. But the funny thing is he knows that even if it's not Mutas, making more Void Rays is going to be okay. And if it is Mutas, I mean, he can reasonably assume it's Mutas based on what he's seen. He hasn't seen any ground armies, so what else could it be at this point?
Yeah, like you said, he's only seen just a little pack of Lings. I believe that is a little drawing of a Ling.
Yeah, I think that's a Zergling there. That's what I'd guess.
A little chubby guy.
He's got he needs to work on his claws. He's not the scariest Zergling I've ever seen. He looks like
he has very sharp teeth. That is one thing he's got going for him.
If he fell over, he might roll down a hill. The Fleet Beacon is on the way, and this is setting up perfectly for Anion Pulse Crystals and or Tempests to come out later. So the nice thing for Super is he's gotten a third base and all of his tech up for free, but he needs to defend these Mutalisks, and he's going to find himself stuck on 3 bases if he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, this is all about defending this attack right here. He has a bunch of Void Rays. He has 1 cannon here, targeting that cannon. The Photon charge on the Nexus goes down as well, going to take that away. He does get the cannon, though. This little hallucination trying to do some damage. He did not quite do him any damage because he is hallucination.
Hey, you might have had the illusion he was going to take some damage there, but the cannon tanked enough for the Photon overcharge to come down. Multiple cannons being added here. Very safe play by Super. And he's getting +2 for ground, +2 for air. He's getting Anion Pulse Cruiser, setting up such a great, such a great army for the late game. And with the Phoenix range, the Mutalisks are going to be irrelevant, basically.
Yeah, I mean, this is just very slow, patient, safe play out of Super. Took a third place, not too quickly, but quickly enough to, get that 3-base economy going down. He is making a bunch of Phoenixes as well as that Phoenix range, like you said. He's going to be very prepared for the Mutas, but I want to see now what SoO does to counter this, because he has seen all these Phoenixes. He has to assume that Super is going for this type of build. What is he going to do? Right now he has a bunch of Hydras coming out.
Yeah, the Hydras here are actually something that, unfortunately for Super, he hasn't really found an answer for. Yes, in small numbers, Phoenixes, especially with the Anion Pulse Crystals, can help deal with Hydralis, but in numbers of this high, with range and a soon-to-be speed and Zergling support, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to fight this. It's a lot of Void Rays. It's all about the Force Fields here. I really feel with good Force Fields, he may be able to hold this, but this is not looking good. This is not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, even just looking at the supplies right now, SoO is very confident in himself, putting these Zerglings right in there. No force fields are going down just yet. So many Hydras out of SoO right now, and he's doing so much damage. Not one force field has gone down yet. The Phoenix trying to do some damage. The Time Warp coming out as well, but so many Hydras out here.
So many Hydras doing the damage, and now that there's not really any sentries to help out, there's no buffer for those Phoenixes. One Void Ray tries to help out. Here come the Phoenixes, but they just can't deal with that much Hydraless firepower. Look at Dream's, not Dream, but Super Space, as he does follow the same fate of his teammate here, starting to lose so much of his supply, losing his momentum here. There's nothing he can do without Colossi, without Storm, not even charge here. Way too many Hydras. He has not. As soon as he's on the Mulus, he just got one track minded, thinking, okay, all I need to deal with is Mulus. But when the Hydraless switch was there, he was not ready.
Yeah, that's 100% it. One track minded. He has no AoE for this. He has not even any Zealots, even with the charge coming out. He just does not have enough units. You guys see the supply tab right now with this many Hydras. The Phoenix are just not able to deal with it. He had such a small ground army in itself. Like he had 4 or 5 Zealots, maybe 3 sentries, not even one force field going down.
GG.
And that's going to be it.
Really, really nice switch there, the Hydraless. No scout by Super. He didn't see it coming, and that's how he falls. He had so many Phoenixes. He was incredibly prepared for 40 Mulus, but that's not what we had. That's not what we saw there at the end of that game.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. He was very, very prepared for 40, 50 Mulus, but there were not that many. There were maybe 8.
He just needed to switch to Colossi a little bit faster, or perhaps even try to push some Storm research out. And you got to really feel for MVP, because now they're down 2 games. Both of their players had a solid start in the game, but now it's all up to DRG, the man you see here, looking on the left. And if you guys have followed the GSTL, and you followed GSL, you know that in high-pressure situations, DRG has a tendency to crack under the pressure. He has a tendency to make big mistakes. He will often screw up big chances he has to win games. He's thrown a lot of games. He's looked totally off point. And he needs to be a different DRG today, because the whole pressure, the whole team is pinned on him to win this game. And then even if he does, it doesn't end there.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good point, because DRG, known to crack under the pressure, but he's here the first time his team is in Pro League, and he has to carry the team on his back. He has to win this game in order for them to have a chance. And is he going to be able to do it in front of this huge crowd that's basically cheering only for SK Telecom T1,
yeah,
and actually pull a game against Parting, another Titan of
yeah.
Protoss?